In the summer of 2014, while I was waiting for my train at Grand Central, it suddenly hit me that I'm going to leave this country very soon. And before going home, I wanted to see America. I had little over 30 days left, and that's when it happened. I hit the road to meet 30 American families that I hadn't seen before in 30 days as I drove from New York to California.
Well, I have to say that my definition of family, thanks to Apple and technology, is exactly the same.
Oh.
The truth is that we're just a phone call away.
I wanted to understand Americans as humans and what's a primal need for humans. Find love.
Tell me, how did you guys meet in Paris? How did that happen?
Well, that's a good story.
I think I tell it better. We met in Paris. All the international kids went on this bus trip from Paris to Munich for the Oktoberfest. Anyway, I was really trying to find the book Atlas Shrugged and in Paris, and I couldn't find an English copy of it. So in line at one of the bus stops on the way home from Munich to Paris, he happened to be in back of me in line. And in his hand was Atlas Shrugged. And then I kind of tried to weasel this book out of him. And he was holding fast to that book. He was not about to give it. When we got off the bus, and he came up to me and he said, "Can I have your number?" I didn't have a pen anyway, but I said, "Well, you're going to have to memorize it. I don't have a pen." And then I never heard from him. So he never called. And about 2 weeks later, I was walking, and all of a sudden I hear, "Christine! Christine," and it's David. Anyway, so we agreed to have a date. And frankly, all my girlfriends were dating either Parisians or Italians, and I got an American from my hometown who asked me out. So I wasn't really looking forward to it. He buys me flowers. It was really lovely. And finally he takes me home, and I'm expecting a goodnight kiss, which does not come. He opens the elevator door for me and he says, "Can I see you again?" I said, "Well, yeah, sure, that sounds great." And I walk into my room, and there on my pillow is a package. And I open the package, and it was the book Atlas Shrugged. We've been dating ever since.
A couple of years ago, we got to know a group of Muslim students from Turkey, and they belong to an organization of Muslims for Peace. They had their first baby here, and far away from their parents in Turkey. But we get to know them, like you say, and when you're holding their baby, you don't need a lot more data. Those are beautiful, worthy people.
As I started winding up my time with Aunt Mary, she suggested that there is one more American story I must hear. And so I met this family of 8 kids and 2 fathers.
How old were you when you had your first child?
I had my first child. 20. Well, it was just the right thing to do. I was working in a homeless shelter, and there was just a family that a mother and 3 sons that were in a lot of turmoil. The mother was a drug addict, and the children were in need of someone that would be responsible. And the next thing I knew was that these kids were with me.
But I wondered, how does such a big household work?
We got a plan. So, like the army, everybody's, got to go wake up every kid and make sure they have matching shoes and clothes, and who needs to take a shower takes a shower, and breakfast gets done, and the cats get fed, and the dogs go out for a walk, and the duck comes out for it's food, and gotta make sandwiches. We make, about a dozen sandwiches in the morning.
What do you like about your family, Travis?
There's a lot of us, so we all get along. We all, well, if we're not getting along, we can hang out with someone else and do a lot of fun stuff.
Just the way everything is. We joke around and laugh. We sometimes get along.
I want to be in Major League Baseball whenever I grow up.
We met,
through a mutual friend.
yeah, I guess so. Through a mutual friend.
Shall we tell them?
Sure.
We met in
Well-
Alcoholics Anonymous. Dave was a new member, and I was a veteran of some years. And then I would pick him up at his house, and we would have these wonderful drives in the car together, where we would finish each other's sentences and discover that we loved all the same songs. And we would talk and talk and talk. And then
She would talk and talk.
and then one day we went out on a date.
Oh, this was funny because I was actually going, my boyfriend was his best friend. And when he broke up with me, I started to go out with John. And
She was chasing me.
I chased him until I caught him.
We met because of a common interest in cave exploring of all things. Exploring caves.
Is that how you met?
And for many years, my mother always said, "You're never going to meet a girl in a cave." Right? But as it turned out, I did.
A vegetarian one to boot.
So I said, I'd rather meet a girl in a cavern than a tavern.
Oh man.
13 years.
She's a bartender at Floozy.
I was in a bar and he was in a bar.
In this town?
Yeah, and I was working and he was drinking. We don't have any together, but he has 3 and I have 2. So, but his children live in Montana and he helped me raise mine.
Next stop was River Forest in Illinois, where I was to meet Christine and her 3 daughters and her husband. But when I got here, I was surprised to see her extended family, her parents and her sisters were all here to meet me and welcome me to America.
We're very unique from a lot of families. We're all very involved in each other's lives.
I'm not sure he means that as a compliment.
And everyone likes to clamor for attention, as you can see. It's pretty common.
Okay.
It's fun.
I like how close we all are. You know, like cousins don't really feel like cousins. It's like cousins/siblings. Yeah, which is really nice. See, I like that we get each other's sense of humor too.
Medical school.
Medical college, yeah.
Yeah. Love arranged.
Yeah, we arranged
We arranged it.
Lovingly.
Lovingly.
So parents were happy with that?
Oh yeah.
Parents, were you happy with that?
Parents, were you happy? Very, very happy.
Extremely happy.
We met in college at a party. What? It's the truth. It's a documentary, you gotta be honest.
Yahoo. It's a Yahoo dating site.
What?
Yes. And we talked a lot on Yahoo Messenger for a long time. Probably, close to,
A year.
about 8 or 9 months. And then I dropped by to visit with him. When you're older, it's a whole different thing. Well, we didn't go to movies and dancing or anything like that, but we shared walking in the woods and we took a trip together.
We met in a restaurant.
We met in a restaurant in Eugene, halfway between the 2 of us.
We met in India like 11 years back, and I think 2 months after we met, Apsara was crazily in love and She wanted little J's all around. So my first couple of years I did my master's in California. Came just to be with her.
We met at graduate school.
The United States.
We traveled all the way here to meet each other.
A friend of I actually came to Iowa, where there's a big transcendental meditation community, a little bit more than a year ago, and a friend of ours asked each of us if we wanted to meet each other, and both of us said no, because neither of us wanted to be in a relationship.
The places I had traveled so far were kind of familiar, like Indiana and Chicago, Illinois. But from here, the rest of the America westwards was kind of an unexplored territory for me. I had never seen Wisconsin even on the map before planning to begin this trip. And I was pretty excited as I entered Madison. And this is where I met this couple that was, in spite of all the really tough challenges, was so full of life.
I look forward to every day. I have, I have a short time, and I think, and I really want to enjoy it. I want to get as much life out of my life as I can, so I don't really want to sit still too long. I asked her, if you could have anything in life, what would you want? What is the thing you want the most?
And I was so amazed and pleased because no one had ever asked me such a question. And then I was amazed because my answer came so quickly. That I wanted to be as close to God as a human being can be living on earth. I know there's great sorrow awaiting me, but I also know that that's a part of life, and that I'll be given the strength to not only experience that, but to be changed by it.
It's one thing to find love, it's another thing to keep it forever. And that was my next question to my host families. Now, 53 is a long time.
Yeah.
What would you say has kept your marriage and also your family together these years?
Paula. Paula's what's kept us together, I think. There doesn't seem to be anything more important than that. Family seems to be the most important thing of all. And we loved the children from the moment they were born. And our plan was to love them so much that they couldn't stand it anymore. And their eyes would roll up in their heads whenever we said, we love you. That we know, we know, we know. And at the same time, you're a hostage. You are in a hostage situation forever. But it's a good hostage situation. I mean, our kids are, in their late 30s. And we want to know what time they get home. We want to know when the car is pulled into the garage in their own house and stuff. We still want to know that. We don't care. Well, we would also like it if they were upstairs in their rooms. But that they're not going to do.
In your home, when you were raising your kids, I understand your fooding habits were different. Some were vegetarian, some would eat such things. And so were your political beliefs. So how would it stay together despite all the differences?
Well, in the politics, the best thing is no conversations about that. That's the best solution to that, because once that starts, I don't think we'd be sitting here together today.
Well, we don't go there.
We just don't go there.
13 years?
13 years. Newlyweds. We have a great sense of humor.
Yeah. It's something that brought us together. Yeah. We can laugh at pretty much anything.
And each other. And ourselves. I mean... Yeah. We're a pretty awkward bunch, but we like to celebrate that and run with it and have a good time.
42. Almost 43.
Yeah, we'll be 43 in September.
Mary is an excellent cook. Very lucky in many ways to marry her. I think we both really work at it. It's not easy. The only thing harder than relationships is no relationship.
Josh, I'm 39, from Minneapolis.
My name is Marion, I'm 41. I was from Minneapolis.
Josh and Marion are proud parents of little Henry, Emma, and Ophelia.
Well, we knew that adoption was something that we wanted that to be part of our family. We knew that that was something that is important in our hearts, and it was something that we were born to do. And we adopted them when they were 1 year in 2007. I mean, it was, most people when they make plans to get married, they decide if they want to have a child or one child or two children. And we sort of both knew inherently that children were absolutely a part of our story. And we both brought to the table the conversation about adoption. It was important to both of us equally. Like, some people wake up and know that they want to be a doctor when they grow up. I knew I wanted to be a mom, and I knew that I wanted to give someone a fighting chance at life that maybe they wouldn't have. We waited, and we waited, and we waited almost a full year. And when we got a phone call, they said, we have a referral for you. And I said, is it a boy or a girl? And they said, well, and I thought, oh God, there's something, and they were like, it's twins. And I was like, oh my. We're the luckiest humans on the planet. This is amazing. And amazing for them too, because they'll always have each other. They won't ever be alone in the world. They won't ever feel alone in our family. They won't ever feel different than everyone else, because they always have each other, which I think is one of the greatest blessings of our story.
The value, having value within, the family structure, and understanding that this is forever. So when me and Kelly met, I already had adopted 2 boys at this time. My ultimate responsibility is to my kids. I love you, but the kids come first. They didn't ask to come into this world, and they didn't ask me to adopt them, and it's my ultimate responsibility to make sure that as a parent and as a father that I follow through with my obligation. So I have to put their needs before ours, and it's our responsibility to stay together, to give them consistency, to give them support, to give them the financial needs, and we have to put our needs second. And what happens with that is that, of course, you run into situations and times when you're totally in love, and times that you're not so much in love, and times you like your partner, and times you don't like your partner, but you figure it out.
So I've hit the road on the way from Minnesota to South Dakota. I'm pretty excited about this journey now. I did some thinking over the past weekend while I was in Minneapolis. I guess I was taking it too fast, too soon. I should, from here on, take it easy, because it will be quite uncertain and tentative. There's no set place to go, and we'll see how it goes. We'll go where the road takes me. I'll go to some nice diner, have something nice to eat, chat with the server there, and tell my story, politely introduce myself, and maybe something opens up. I'll find something or someone, who knows. Oh my God, there's a rail track running through the fields. So back in the day, they used to be having trains running up here. Nice. I'm Cal Cobal. I've always been a self-employed stained glass artist. I've come to terms with pretty much anything that I've come up with. I've had medical difficulties. I've lost my wife. I played the part of the house husband, more or less. I played the person who drove people around. I stayed home, I did the laundry, I did the cooking, I did all of the housework. And she was the caretaker, essentially. I had 2 other jobs. I couldn't have been happier, you know?
How long have you been together?
Oh. We are celebrating our 20th anniversary in February of next year. We respect each other, we care about each other, and we are the best friends.
10 months.
10 months that we've been together.
10 months.
Yeah.
Yes. I know.
It's quite an interesting thing.
Both of us have felt that this is by far what we've waited our whole lives for. Everything prior to this was how do I even say it?
A warm-up.
A warm-up, a practice to a very honest relationship where the primary relationship is with myself, and then what we do together is just, it's joyful.
He makes it easy because he's a nice guy.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Well, because we're both nice.
No, I was going to say that it was easy because I'm so accommodating.
Uh-huh. Well, we fit each other. He loves to work the woods. He's an artist, a scientist. He likes to read and do petroglyphs and genealogy. I love farm work. I was raised on housework, and I love taking care of him and the animals and the farm.
I was married for 25 years, and she was the heart of my life. I still wear her ring. But the first time I had seen her, and I just knew immediately when she walked in the door that was her. But she was a mathematical genius. That was an experience. Losing it took me several years to get out of it and to grow from it. Oh, family, as far as in a contemporary sense, I really regret that my son probably doesn't know the same type of family as I did, 50 years ago. And but the sense of family I have, I mean, when I went to my reunion, there were people there I hadn't seen in 17 years, and the family was still there.
Which one do you want to start with?
I was born in New York City, and that's where I went to school. Elementary school, and then high school, and in Manhattan, and then off to college. Diana.
Okay, yeah, and I was born in New York City as well, and you go on.
And so when I got done with elementary school...
Oh, you still in elementary school?
Of course, post kids, it's, we love our kids to bits, There's nothing more important in our lives right now than our 2 boys. I think that it takes a lot, of adjustment as a family, and I don't think being LGBT or not, I don't think it matters,
It's just as much as any other 2 people staying together for 11 years as an LGBT couple. Granted, you have a little bit of a social pressure, so to speak, of certain people not being completely okay with you.
Which, hopefully because you love the person and care for the person, you overcome all of that together.
Our religion is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And these are our other children and the grandbabies. I do keep them in my thoughts and prayers every day because I love them so much. I miss them. In our religion, part of it is that when you are married in the temple, your family can be together forever. That after you die, it doesn't end. That we are still married, and that our family is going to stay together forever.
I think we're both very practical people.
Yeah.
We're not being driven by religious concerns or sharing some kind of religious belief, which brings some people together, I think.
You are in love with each other?
Well, I don't know if he loves me, but I love him. I'm not sure he's worth it, but I love him anyway. I don't work hard enough to make a man's shirt for just anybody.
She's phenomenal in her will and her industry.
Is it hard to fall in love again, fourth time for you?
I'm not sure you could call it falling in love. I think you fall in like.
My name's Valerie Cooey, and I'm from here, Vernal, Utah.
I'm Garrett Cooey, and I'm from Webo, Montana.
I was curious to know what kept them here in Vernal, Utah all these years.
I thought the city was going to be great, and I can't wait to get out of here. And then I went to Salt Lake and lived for a little while, and I hated it. I hated it almost instantly, and I came right back home because I just did not want to be in the city. I had unrealistic ideas of how it would be, and it wasn't anything like that. People aren't nice. There wasn't any friendliness about the cities, and I didn't like it.
I'm not a very romantic person, and there wasn't a day where I said, okay, are we together on this day? Okay, this is our anniversary. It was very natural. It just happened very organically.
I'd say, if anything, it was probably our daughter being born that is a date that could really stick out as a changing point in our lives, I guess. But when Zoe was born, we were like 100% committed at that point, and there was like no turning back. And still here, still happy. When we get to the end of our lives, I hope I'm still living with you, and I hope I still have the family and friends that surround myself today, I guess.
I would have to say, for me, what's kept things together and why I think even after 30 years, our marriage is still fun and interesting, is because you were fun and interesting.
Mutual interest, I'd say. A wonderful family. Her family, extended family, is rather large and all very fun. Her parents like second parents to me. Her sisters, cousins, and love.
So it wasn't me.
That's the obvious stuff.
59 years. I would like to say that fear has kept my marriage together. I've always been afraid of my wife. Not really. You marry a good woman and you behave yourself as a man. You respect each other. You love each other, and it stays that way. But you have to work at it.
Yeah, you make a commitment.
We both value the family relationship, and I think that about the developing children and how to spend the money, education, we are quite the same.
What my parents said as well, keeping family values aligned.
most boring response ever. It's like, yeah, it's like I'm just reading out of a corporate dictionary. I'm going to use all the corporate words to like put together a paragraph that's going to explain how a family's supposed to work. I'm sorry, I was just kidding.
And he always calls me out on that kind of stuff.
But Gerald is like his another father.
It really is.
Very bossy.
But, and it's a cultural thing, I think. Part of it is both my parents, so they didn't mention, grew up with big families in Taiwan.
We can get on each other's nerves, but we don't throw in the towel. Like young people get married and they think, oh, well, if I don't like it, I'll leave. But we didn't do that. We made a vow. We committed to life with each other. And we work out the bad parts and love the good parts. And it lasted that long.
And tolerance and compromise. And most of all, we love each other.
Oh, that's without saying.
When you love each other, anything's possible.
So I think that's what kept us together, was working hard for the kids.
All these amazing people so far told me about their past, how they met, and about their present, how they are keeping their love and family together. I was now curious to know about their future, what hopes they have, and dreams they have for themselves and for their children for tomorrow.
I'm a typical American family that have the same dreams and ambitions that any other typical American family wants for their kids. I want them to be happy, healthy, educated. You know, I want them to live in a nice home and have opportunities. I want the same exact things that any parent would want for their child. I want them to have the freedom to choose, of course, of who they love and who they want to be with.
You know, when they were little itty bitties, I might have said, oh, I'd love a doctor, I'd love a lawyer. I don't have those dreams for them anymore. I just really want them to find people that they can surround themselves with who are positive and happy and bring out the best in them. So
I want them to love school. I want them to love school their whole life as much as they love second grade. I want them to be proud of who they are and what they do. I want them to be confident in their family and in their choices in life.
Meeting the family that owned this restaurant, Pine Roots in Malad, was really a random call. Out of nowhere, I just gave them a call and said, this is who I am, it's what I'm doing, I want to come meet you guys. And as luck was with me, they said, yeah, come over. And next thing I knew, I was sharing a family cooked pancake, the home version, because it was Sunday afternoon, the restaurant was closed, and they were having their own lunch, which they very gladly and generously shared with me. In case some child, does not follow the faith as religiously as you would you still be able to love them as much as?
Do we still love you as much, Kenneth?
Yes. Yeah, I chose a different way of life, and they're still very supportive. They let me come back home when I needed to come back home.
Oh, well, I look forward to enjoying our children, our grandchildren, spending so much time with my bride. Happy, healthy remainder of our life.
Just being able to get up and do things is pretty exciting when you get as old as we are, hoping they make the right choices. Because there's a lot of things in the world now that leads kids astray.
And stay close to my wife. You know, we're both getting older. She's got some physical things, and I know that down the road, you know, I want to be there to take care of her. You know, we've had a long life together, and so, you know, I look forward to getting up and seeing her in the morning and knowing that we're still together.
At around the time of sunset, I managed to make it just in time to my next family in Highland, Utah.
Ladies first.
My name is Suzanne Mann, And we live in Highland, Utah.
My name is Michael Mann. I'm 29 years old. I'm currently living here in Highland, Utah with my parents for the summer.
Every parent in the world wants their children to have more than they did. Would love to see my children have, the world, but I don't know. We're pretty sheltered here in our little vernal community.
Where we can have hopes and dreams and ambitions, expectations, but you only get right now. So you gotta try to make today count and cross that bridge when tomorrow comes.
Everything.
We have a whole life to live, a whole world to see.
Look forward to seeing Zoe grow up and see who she becomes. I look forward to traveling to more places.
Obviously, now that we have children, priority is to make sure that we raise two good human beings. For ourselves, I would like to actually settle down in a place where it's us surrounded by our friends, our closest friends and family, where we all can kind of grow old together.
In United States, people from all over the world come and make it their home. I wonder what it means for each one of them to be American.
I've had family members that have fought and some of them have died in wars protecting our freedom, and so it means a lot to me to be an American.
I don't think in terms of nationality. It doesn't mean anything special to be Indian or American. To me personally, it means more to be a good citizen of the world.
Well, that feels like a blessing. One of the greatest things that's in this country is the separation of church and state.
The family in Idaho Falls, I met them through Couchsurfing website. And the interesting thing was they happened to be a Hoosier family because Jeff, the husband in the family, is from Indiana University.
Yeah, well, we know that other cultures have various levels of hierarchy within the society, perhaps the caste system in India. But at the same time, I think Americans in general are not cowed by authority.
What I like about America is how it doesn't really matter about your skin color. Not that much people are racist and stuff here.
I don't know if I've ever really thought of it, to be honest with you. Opportunity and freedom.
I always felt like the boundaries of the nation state of America, the United States, was too small for me.
I can stand up and burn an American flag tomorrow. I'm going to get a lot of flack for it, but I can't be arrested. However, I may not be able to afford to go to college.
As I was marching to the mighty Grand Tetons, I passed through this little rural town called Victor. I'm not even sure if the actual town was even smaller than that. But I've been so interested in the rural parts of any country for that matter. And how could I not meet the cowboys? And so I started knocking doors randomly. Most of which were closed at that time. One of these were open, and so I met Larry and Muriel Cook in the Warm Creek Ranch. This is my family. This is my mother.
Geez, you look young.
This is my sister and her husband with their wedding day. And this is my father. And this is my grandmother.
And this must be you.
Yeah. She got married 4 years ago.
You're the only boy then, aren't you?
Yeah, we have just two, me and my sister.
Yeah. I don't even care if I ever see New York. That wouldn't interest me at all.
We don't like the big town.
I have no idea. I have no idea what it means to be American.
Absolutely, one word defines American. Freedom.
I'll tell you, it's pretty nice now, especially when you watch the news and see what's going on in some of the other countries and stuff. Pretty nice to live in a country that has as much freedom as we do, and yeah.
We don't have to worry too much about getting bombed and things like that.
It's the freedom, you know, and that's why even though when I came back from Vietnam and they were protesting, I believed it was their right to do that. You know, that's what I fought for, their right to do that. And that's what the freedom was all about. And I haven't seen that unique form of freedom in really any other country.
In Big Timber, Montana, I met my friend Justin's grandparents who showed me around in this town. This town was really the actual small town of America. It had one bar and one diner.
What it means to be an American is working hard to get what you want. The Civil Rights Act for the African Americans, it took a lot of hard work for them to get the rights that they have today.
It used to be freedom.
Yeah.
You could do whatever you want, but now it's got so bad it's, I don't know. I'm thinking about becoming a Canadian.
America is a place that we can have our freedoms that are God-given. So we have a constitution that should protect those freedoms and those natural rights. Hopefully that will stay. I think there's a battle going on where we're trying to keep that.
The journey from Montana to Seattle would have been very long, so I broke it down at Missoula, Montana, where I met this really young couple, Mike and Alex, and their daughter Zoe. State of Washington added the first colors of diversity in this road trip of mine, and I found Dr. Logani and his family by a plain cold call.
Yeah, I got a call from I was in my office and my secretary called me and says, there's a guy called Rajiv. He says he's a documentary filmmaker. Do you want to talk to him or shall I buzz him off?
It's hard for me to think of myself as an American. I just don't see myself as an American. I see myself as a world citizen who lives in America and who was born in America and who has the idealism of the best of the American values.
In the town of Sheridan in Oregon, Granny Mary and her husband Ralph hosted me. Granny Mary back in the day walked across the country for AIDS awareness. With Oregon behind me, nothing could really stop me from reaching my destination. Through the beautiful Pacific Coastal Highway and the dense redwood forests, I found my way to glory in California.
He's traveled west on his 30 in 30 campaign.
When you think of India, what image comes in your mind?
Oh, I think my camera would drown. I think that could take so many weeks of my life and I would just love to stay there. I mean, really. In the United States, you know, when you talk of history, it is nothing compared to India. I mean, when you talk of the last 200 years of history in India compared to the last 200 years in the US, I mean, boy, I would take India any day and just keep going back.
The depth of the history. We have no history in this country, and I love American history, but it's not very old. So, it's like India and the Far East, and I took an Indian history class in college, and it was just amazing how far it went back. You know, and the architecture and the religion, and we're such a young culture, and Americans have no concept of that, of how short our history span is.
To me, when I think of India, I think of India as Mother India, because I believe totally that it's one of the oldest if not the oldest culture in the world.
The first thing that comes up to my mind is the Islamic temple. Is that what it is?
Rich, deep culture with lots of history, lots of passion for arts, religion, music, just in general, it's very beautiful people.
I think of the Indian Institutes of Technology and the emphasis on math and science and engineering, and also women have risen to the top levels of Indian politics and other spheres, which is something even in this country hasn't gotten that far yet.
Dancing in Bollywood and wonderful food.
They always show the cities. They always show the cities full of people, but they never show anything outside of the cities. You never get to see like the countryside or the landscape, or I don't really know what else is there besides the slums and the caste system. Or I mean, that's what they'd focus on, the negative things of India.
I probably, when I think of India, I think more of cities than I do countryside.
Does he mean Indiana Jones? Is stuff cheap in India?
Do kids in India go to camp?
Is it hot there?
Is New Delhi that big?
Family.
Food.
Festivals, colors, noise, smells, whole explosion of all of those things that hits you when you put land there.
Hot and very crowded. I think there'd be a lot of people.
Intense sensory experiences in India. The smells are intense, the sights are intense, the colors are intense.
Heat and density.
Very hot, beautiful colors.
Very colorful.
Highly populated in the major cities.
India is kind of scary. It seems very overpopulated, and people waiting down there in the Ganges River because of the pollution and density. So I have mixed feelings.
Classic thing of extremes of contrast, so going to Agra and seeing the Taj, and then seeing poverty in fairly close proximity.
So I don't know if you have a middle class there or not.
Vast wealth and vast poverty.
The disparity in social classes.
A lot of poverty, second, third world developing country.
I will tell you, they are the best people fixing my computer. When I have a problem, I go online and some nice Indian person comes online and they tell me not to worry. They fix it. Boom, boom, boom. My computer is fixed. I think that the people in India must be geniuses because they can fix my computer in the United States from India. And I think that's marvelous.
Well, one of the colorful things I love about the Indian people is their willingness and ability to take on the English language and the beautiful way they speak the English language. It is always very, very good. So
I always think of the women and the little spots they have, and they're beautiful, beautiful. They always have these beautiful dresses and these head things that are always so beautiful.
When I first think of India, I think of the women with their head covering.
My mom used to wear that. She still wears sometimes when there are elders around, like people who are very old, as a mark of respect. And there are different reasons.
Okay.
And some it's fashion, like women look pretty good because the head scarf thing, its border is embroidered with a lot of glass and stones.
Oh wow.
So it is not just a tradition, also it's very fashionable.
It's crazy like how in America the women here think that or feel that we need to have our hair done a perfect way or makeup done a perfect way to look beautiful, and in these other countries that don't have makeup, it's amazing how they know that they're beautiful without even wanting any of that. And I don't know. It's cool. It's a different way of thinking.
But it's a country that I have followed from the time I was young, hearing about Mahatma Gandhi and then Nehru.
One thing I really like about India is when he's my greatest role model is Gandhi. I think he was very inspirational, very motivational to the people during the time Gandhi was there, and I just like reading about Gandhi in our history books, and sometimes I'll go home and just research Gandhi and see what he did, and he used peace instead of violence and protesting. He just used peace and silence to allow the Indian people to get what they want during that time. So that's what I think of India as very inspirational, motivational.
I was greatly influenced by the biography of Gandhi, which I read when I was young, like when I was about 16, and the Buddhism coming out of India. The Hinduism is very rich also.
I think of peace and comfort and softness.
Beauty. I associate all things beautiful.
It seems very exotic and very beautiful and spiritual, and I guess it's a real democracy. It's the real thing. It's a real democracy that works, and I mean, I know there are, of course, problems like anything else, but it seems amazing.
When I think of India, I think of, if you could imagine the entire world as a human body, India would be its heart.
I look to India as my second home. What I always loved about India, especially in the last 20 years, is, you can walk down the street and you can see, an old sannyasi, a yogi, practicing yoga, and he, of course, has a cell phone so he can be connected. So to me, there's no contradiction between the melding of their ancient ways, old culture, and modern technology. It's always an assimilation that gets built one on top of another.
Actually, Indian and the Chinese are pretty much alike. Indian people also value family a lot, and marriage, and then even Indian people like the golden and the red colors.
India. Well, my husband's traveled a lot to India, and they're good people. Family means a lot to them, and it's very similar to how we feel. That family is everything. I admire that, and I like that about the Indian people, that they've got it right. I'm just glad we didn't have a wedding there to pay for. We got off pretty easy for our daughter. Their weddings are over the top, crazy, and lots of fun.
Indian Chinese are pretty much alike on many things, and we are pretty conservative in spending the money. I think quite a lot.
IT. For sure.
Very sweet, genuine, smart people.
You. You come to our mind. We are so pleased that we had met you and that we have had time to talk with you and be present and learn a little bit more about you.
It's been a pleasure to